Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 149, Peace at All Cost. You want to nurture peace in your household. You want to nurture peace inside of your own soul. You would like to nurture peace between your children and even within yourself, with your coworkers, and honestly, even to have peace with God. But today we're going to talk about a tough subject, and that is people who are willing to have peace at any cost. I have to say, that peace is not really worth it. In other words, you have a strong value system and a strong belief system, but you're not going to discuss it with anyone because you just want to keep the peace. I'm not sure that's a fair cost, and I'm not sure you should pay it. In other words, you should have every right to appropriately express your thoughts, your ideas, your opinions, your beliefs. In today's world, there's a lot of hate speak. And I will acknowledge to you, there are people who hate people of different religions and hate people of different races and hate people of different nationalities and customs. And that's a bummer because no one deserves that and no one should be treated in that manner. It's really common, even politically, for people to hate the other party and hate people who oppose their personal way of seeing the world and how it should go. Yeah, that's terrible. And yet, none of us should just lay down and play dead and compromise all of our beliefs and all of our values so that we can just live in peace. That's no peace. It's really not. And so we need to, all of us, be able to state what we believe and how we think and feel without fear. And honestly, even if someone is going to come against us, they're going to be angry, they're going to be upset, they're going to try really hard to shut us down, they're going to act rude and disrespectfully. That's not our problem. We need to really get that straight in our head. Okay? So we don't live our life based on, oh, they might not like it if I say that I love Jesus. Oh, they might not be okay with it if I tell them I'm a really staunch Democrat. Oh, somebody's probably going to get upset if I tell them that I hate that new blue carpet that we have, and I don't know what we were ever thinking, but we should probably get it ripped up and buy some other color. Yeah, we can't live life afraid of self-expression or of at least a discussion because the other guy's not going to like it or going to be upset about it. And we don't really have to walk around on eggshells, nervous and scared and worried because the other guy's having a hard time handling who we are. No joke. Peace at any cost is not worth it. You really need to let your kids know that. I have a son who is really badly, badly bullied by a kid at his school in third grade. To the extent that basically every single day when he got out of school, this kid was waiting for him and would punch him out. For probably a couple of weeks or more, my son did not talk to me about this because my kids were taught not to fight, not to physically fight. And again, it goes back to my family of origin and all the fighting and all the horror stories I could tell you, but I won't. I didn't want my kids going through that. And so they weren't allowed to fight. They had to learn how to solve things calmly and preferably with words. And my son just couldn't get to that point. He came home this one day and he said, Mom, I got to show you something. He pulls up his shirt and he's bruised all over his upper body. And he was kind of getting to the stage where he didn't really want me in the bathroom with him when he was taking a bath or whatever. So I had not seen him in that state. And I was frankly very upset. He said, this kid is smart enough to beat me up where other people aren't even going to see it. I said, okay, you know where this kid lives? He goes, yes, Mom. I said, all right, we're going over there. He said, Mom, I don't want to do it. He had gotten to the place with this kid where he was so discouraged and so beaten down that he didn't even think it was going to do any good to go over to this kid's house and for me to talk to this kid's mom. That's how far he had come in just those couple weeks of this kid just mercilessly beating on him. I tell this story to you because I want you to understand that after a while, when people beat on us, not even physically, but really try to beat us down emotionally or beat us down mentally, are really horrible to us and come against us and insult us and are rude and critical and nasty, we can kind of get to a place where we don't even see the point of having the fight anymore, where we just kind of want to lay down and keep the peace at any cost. No, no. Not a good option. I want you to know that. In this case, I went with my son over to this child's house and I got a hold of this kid's mom. And I said to her very calmly, your son, and right in front of the kid, because my son and her son were standing there, I said, your son's been beating my son up every day for quite a while now. And she goes, oh, he would never do that. I mean, she just instantaneously defended him. And I said, son, pull up your shirt. He's like, Mom. I said, I mean it. Pull up your shirt. He pulls up his shirt. And she looked at him. And she looked at her son. She goes, did you do that? He gets this real smart aleck look on his face. He goes, yeah, of course I did. So what? Which told me a lot of stuff, but that's another story. She said, this won't be happening again. And I'll take care of it. She just closed the door on my face. We went home. My son said, Mom, I'm probably going to get more beat up tomorrow than I ever have before. I said, yeah, I don't think so, son. And if you do, then I'm going to be calling the police. And you don't have to say that to him or anybody else. I'm just letting you know this is not going to continue. I don't know what the mom did. Not even my business. But she did take care of it. That kid never beat up my son again. Amazingly, within a couple months, they actually became friends. Don't keep the peace at any cost, because sometimes the cost really isn't worth it. You need to teach your kids this. So, what I'm going to tell you is, as a parent, you have to learn as a human being to pick your battles. Okay? You have to teach your kids to pick their battles. I knew a lot of parents that fought with their kids about what they wore, what kind of music they listened to, how they wore their hair, etc., etc. I want you to know, when my kids were little boys, I do mean 6, 7, 8 years old, I would give them $10, send them into the barbershop. I never said a word to them about what to do with their hair. And the rest of their lives, they went to the barbershop. I didn't take them. I didn't dictate anything to them. They wore their hair how they wanted to wear their hair. It was not something I was going to fight about. It wasn't worth it. Really. I didn't go in my kids' rooms. I respected them enough that that was their space. It was their responsibility to keep it clean. It was their responsibility to keep it neat. My son's room, my one son's room, was meticulous all the time because that's the kind of person he is. My other son's room, it was a disaster. Sometimes you could smell it and it was awful. I would have to say to him, I'm not going in there to do it, but you need to do it, and you need to do it this weekend without any kind of discussion. And he would do it. My point being that if one chose to live like, the neatest human being on the world, and the other one was a total slob, I stayed out of that. I really mean that. In the main parts of the house, that was a whole nother thing. It had to be cleaned up for every single person. But that was his own space. If he wanted it to be messy, that was entirely his business, none of mine. There were things I was extraordinarily particular about, which I won't even go into detail about because it doesn't matter. That was my household, and those were things that really mattered to me. And they had to do those things, or there were stiff consequences when they did not. The point being that my sons learned there were things that were worth fighting about, and there were things that weren't worth the fight. Peace at any cost, or peace at all cost, is not really peace. I want you to know that. You have to be true to yourself, and you need to have peace in your own heart. You need to have a clear conscience. In my vernacular, and again, I'm not going to apologize about being a Christian. I need to have, and I really believe it would be awesome in your life if you had peace with God. Again, a matter of a clear conscience and a clean heart. You need to have peace with others as much as possible, that you live in peace with others. But if they're awful to you, if they're abusive to you, if they are constantly putting you down and holding you back and refusing hardly to even let you live and breathe, whether that's a very oppressive coworker or an abusive mate or a family member who has just lived their whole life treating you like dirt and they think they can still do it, that's on you. And peace at any cost is not worth it. You need to learn to establish boundaries and talk about your feelings and change the dynamic or get out of the relationship. And hence, you will teach your child that peace is very vital. And peace is partly your responsibility. In fact, probably about 80 to 90% your own personal responsibility, and partly another person's responsibility if they have authority over you or if they are responsible for you in some way, like your boss or your teacher. But it's not worth peace at any cost. At some point, you might actually have to stand up and defend yourself and fight for what is right, because it is right that every person is treated with respect, courtesy, and very frankly, even kindness and consideration. Within your own home, help your children to live a peaceable life, which on occasion might require some kind of fight, because peace at any cost or peace at all cost isn't peace at all. It's been great having you with me today. Please leave me a comment, a question, or a suggestion, and I will get back to you. Have a wonderful day. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.